Today we are going to continue our chemical changes. Okay. So chemical changes, what do you mean by chemical change? Chemical change means the change which is formed by, that means the change in which the new substances are formed. One substance changes to new another product. So that is called chemical change, and which cannot be reversed by reversing the conditions. We cannot reverse the condition. That is called a chemical change. So many examples we have studied, like burning, rusting of iron, curdling of milk, digestion, fermentation, etc. These all are the examples for chemical changes. And there are two more examples. Next one is photosynthesis, okay, and respiration. Two more examples are there. Okay, so photosynthesis. What do you mean by photosynthesis? In your smaller classes you have studied, and in biology you are studying photosynthesis. What is that? Green plants prepare their food from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green coloring pigment in plants, right? So because of the chlorophyll, or with the help of this, or in the presence of this chlorophyll, and because of sunlight, what happens? The green plants will prepare food. What is the food they are taking? The food they are taking is in the form of glucose. So the plants will prepare this glucose. How they will prepare? From where they will prepare? From carbon dioxide and water. Water they will absorb from the soil, and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Okay, these are mixed together, or they will prepare food with the help of chlorophyll and sunlight. What is formed? Glucose is formed. This equation you have to study. Okay, this equation you have to study. Carbon dioxide plus water gives glucose and oxygen in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Okay, so what is a new substance formed here? After the arrow, what is a substance formed here? Glucose and oxygen are the new substances, right? Glucose and oxygen is the new substance, and carbon dioxide and water are the reactants. Okay, so new substance glucose and oxygen are formed in the change. So new substance is formed here. Also, the change is irreversible. Can you change this glucose and oxygen back to carbon dioxide and water vapor? Not possible. Okay, so this is an irreversible change. So we can say that photosynthesis is a chemical change because of the formation of new product. What are the new product here? Glucose and oxygen are the new product. Because of this new product cannot return back to what? Carbon dioxide and water. So we can say that photosynthesis is an example for chemical change because it is an irreversible change. Understand? Then next last example for chemical change, that is respiration. Okay, so when we are breathing in, what happens? When we are breathing, we will breathe in oxygen, right? We are breathing oxygen, and when we are exhaling out, when we are breathing out, what we are giving? Carbon dioxide is released out, right? So the thing we are taking in is oxygen. After the respiration, the thing which is coming out is carbon dioxide, and when you will put your hand over here, you can feel hot air is coming outside. So the heat energy is produced. As well as if take a you have a small time, when you were small you have practiced like this, taking a glass bottle and fill air, you can see water vapors are formed. So from when you are breathing out, what all things are coming out? Carbon dioxide gas is coming, and water vapor is coming. Two things are produced out. So from these two things, is it possible to return back to oxygen? Not possible. So we can say breathing is an example, or respiration is an example for chemical change, because new products are formed there, and it is irreversible also. Okay, see, in respiration, the glucose formed by a living being combined with the oxygen of the air, forming the new substance carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so when we are breathing in, okay, when we are our body contain glucose in it, because we are eating food. From the food we will get glucose. Okay, so energy. So with this energy and the oxygen we are breathing in, it will combine in our body, and after that what it will change? The unwanted air, that means the impure air, that means carbon dioxide gas and water vapor, okay, is released, okay, is revolved out, and it is an irreversible change because from this carbon dioxide and from the evaporation water vapor, it is not possible to return back to glucose and oxygen. So we can say that respiration or breathing is an example for a chemical change. Okay, when we are breathing in, what we are taking? Oxygen. Okay, with the help of glucose present in our body. And after the respiration, what happens? Carbon dioxide is evolved, new substances are formed there, and it is irreversible. So we can say that respiration is an example for what? Irreversible change. Okay, so this is the example. Glucose and oxygen will combine to form next product, that is carbon dioxide, water and energy. We will get some energy in our body, right? When we are breathing in, we will get some energy. So with this carbon dioxide, water and energy, we cannot prepare glucose and oxygen. It is irreversible. So we can say respiration is an example for irreversible change. Clear? Then, so this much only our chemical change. What is chemical change? The change in which new substances are formed and which is irreversible. Change in which new substances are formed and which is irreversible is called chemical change. And the examples of chemical change are burning, respiration, photosynthesis, cooking of food, digestion of food, then fermentation, rusting, etc. These 7 are the examples for chemical change. Okay, these all are irreversible changes also. All chemical changes are irreversible. Okay, then next topic is conservation of mass in a chemical change. Okay, conservation of mass in a chemical change. For example, a paper you are taking. Okay, a piece of paper. We have studied our law of conservation of mass in our last chapter, right? So a paper we are taking. After burning the paper, let it be one full newspaper we are taking. Let the mass of the newspaper be 10 gram. Okay, let a 10 gram of newspaper we are taking. Okay, from this newspaper, okay, when we are burning the newspaper, it will change us to ash powder. After burning, collect the full ash and again weight it. Is the mass of the paper and mass of the ash will be same? No, the mass of the substance before and after a chemical change will be different. Okay, but the total mass of full product and the total mass of the full reactant. What are reactant? Reactant means the substances taking part in the chemical at the first stage, that is reactant. Product means after the reaction what is formed, that is product. For example, paper is the reactant there and ash and carbon dioxide gas is the product there. Okay, so the mass of the individual substance undergoing a chemical change is altered. So the mass of the substance is altered means varying, but the total mass of the reactant is the same as that of the product. So the mass of the reactant and the mass of the product should be always fixed. For example, when carbon is burned in air, okay, so when we are burning carbon, what happens? The mass of the carbon is reduced, right? When we are burning a piece of paper, the mass of the paper is reduced and finally that paper fully changes. Finally the carbon vanishes. Vanishes means disappears. In fact, all the carbon get converted into carbon dioxide, or in other words, if I am telling about a paper, the full paper get converted to ash powder and smoke. What is that smoke made up of? Smoke is made up of carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. But the mass of the carbon used plus the mass of the oxygen is always same as the carbon mass of the total mass of the carbon dioxide formed. Which is this law? Our chapter 1 law of conservation of mass. The mass of the reactant and the mass of the product will be always same. That is the topic we have studied here, conservation of mass in a chemical change. So how you can say, in a chemical change the total mass of the substance will be remaining same. That means the total mass of the reactant and the total mass of the product will be always same. Okay, the mass of the substance, total mass of both the substance will be always same. So we can say that the mass of the substance will be always conserved during a chemical change. The total mass will remain same. Okay, law of conservation of mass. Okay, then next one, the mass of an iron nail increases when the nail rusts. We know that an iron nail we can see when it is rusting, a powder, a reddish brown powder will be deposited. Okay, so when we are taking after the rusting, if you will take the total mass means the mass of the powder will be also there. Total mass means the mass of the iron nail plus mass of that rust. Okay, but we can say the total how this rust is formed, how an iron will start to rust when that iron nail come in contact with atmospheric air as well as moisture. With this presence only it will rust. So we can say the total mass of the oxygen come in contact plus the total mass of moisture came in contact and the total mass of the iron nail will be equal to the total mass of the rust and the total mass of the iron nail. Okay, so the total mass of the reactant will be always equal to the total mass of the product. Understand? So we can say during a chemical change, the mass of the substance is always remaining same. Okay. Then we can say that a chemical change always obeys the law of conservation of mass. Okay. Then next, this table is very important. In your exercise question, it is there, difference between physical change and chemical change. So what is the first difference? A physical change is temporary. Correct? No? For example, ice melt to water. It is a physical change. Is it always permanent? No, it is temporary. We can change that water back to ice also by cooling. It is not a permanent change. It is a temporary change. But chemical change is a permanent change. For example, milk changes to curd. We cannot change that curd back to milk. It is a permanent change. Okay. So first point is physical change is temporary change. Chemical change is permanent change. Then second one is a physical change is reversible. That means we can reverse the condition. That means ice changes to water. When you will reverse it, water will change to ice also. But in chemical change, it is irreversible. That means a paper burned to ash. An ash cannot change back to paper. So we can say a chemical change is irreversible. So then next point, in a physical change, no new substances are formed. Is there any new substance formed? When an ice changes to water, H2O only, the substance present in it is H2O. Is there any new substance formed when ice melt? No new substances are formed in a physical change. But new substances are formed in a chemical change. When you are burning a paper changed to ash, new substance is formed and carbon dioxide. New substances are formed there in a chemical change. But in a physical change, no new substances are formed. So 3 points we have studied. Physical change is temporary. Chemical change is permanent. Physical change is reversible. Chemical change is irreversible. Then in a physical change, no new substances are formed. But in a chemical change, new substances are formed. Then in a physical change, what happens? The mass of the substance remains same. The mass of the substance will always be same only. That means the mass of the ice is equal to mass of the water, or the mass of the water will be equal to total mass of the water vapor. So mass of the substance will not change. But in a chemical change, the mass of the individual substance will change. For example, mass of paper and mass of the ash is different. But the total mass of the paper and oxygen and the total mass of the ash powder, carbon dioxide and water vapor is same. But individually if I am taking the mass of paper, individual substance, and the mass of ash, is it same? No. The mass of individual substance is different. But in physical change, mass of the substance is always same. But in chemical change, the mass of the individual substance will be different. Understand this table? You have to study. Very important question. Last year also exam it was there. Okay. Then next topic. Can physical and chemical change occur together? Can it occur together? Can a physical change and chemical change occur together? Yes, it can. How? What is physical change? Physical change means no new substances are forming. For example, melting of ice, melting of wax, etc. are physical change. Then chemical change means burning of a substance is a chemical change. So burning and melting are together taking place in candle. In a candle, candle will melt as well as it will burn also. So physical change and chemical change are taking place together at the same time. Example, when a candle is melting or candle burns, when it is burning, it will produce carbon dioxide gas and heat energy. Right? When it is melting, wax is melting, liquid, solid changes to liquid. Okay, so we can say when a candle is burned, both the physical change and the chemical change are taking place. For example, it is burning, the thread present in it is burning in the presence of oxygen. Okay, and it will produce carbon dioxide and water vapor. Okay, at the same time that wax, solid wax will melt to liquid wax. It is also a physical change. So we can say in a, both physical change and chemical change can take place together. Okay, so example is burning. The wax under the wick melt. Wick means what? That fire, that thread inside a candle, one thread is there, no, it will melt. The molten wax will flow down and solidifies. That liquid wax will again changes to solid. These are the changes in state. Therefore, it is a physical change. When a candle melt, it will changes to liquid, and again when it cools, it will change to solid state. It is an example for physical change. But when it is burning, see the diagram, when it is burning, what happens? The part of the wax that evaporate into carbon dioxide and water vapor, that thread present in it, it will start to burn and produces carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. So we can say burning of wax will undergo both physical change and chemical change. Okay, so from this we can say physical change and chemical change will take place together also. Okay, so exercise question is there with example. Show that physical change and chemical change occur together. So which is the example? Burning of wax. Clear? Then physical and chemical changes involve energy change. Okay, what is the energy change? So see here, there is a change in energy when a physical or chemical change occurs. Right? When a substance is, for example, ice changes to water. What we are doing? We are heating the substance. Heat energy. Heat is absorbed there. A cool, a solid freezed substance is ice. When we are heating, what happens? It will take heat energy. Heat energy is absorbed there, right? As a result, what will happen? In solid state, molecules are tightly packed. When we are heating, which energy is increased? Kinetic energy is increased. So energy is changing there, right? When a substance is absorbing heat energy, what happens? Its kinetic energy increases. Okay, so heat energy changes to kinetic energy. So one energy is changing to another energy during both physical change and chemical change. If it is a chemical change, when we are burning a piece of paper, what happens? Heat energy is absorbed there, right? Heat energy is absorbed by the paper and it will produce, when we are standing near the fire, we will feel hot, right? So heat energy is giving out also. So one energy is changed to another forms of energy during both physical change and chemical change. See, there is a change in energy when physical or chemical change occurs. Energy, usually in the form of heat, is either taken in or absorbed or given out. Okay, sometimes an energy will be taken in or sometimes energy will be given out. For example, when ice is melting, how an ice will melt? When it absorbs heat energy, it will melt. So the energy or the change in which heat is absorbed, the change in which the heat is taken in or the heat is absorbed is called endothermic reaction. Entering, heat is entering in, that is endo means entering. Okay, connect and study. The change in which the heat is taken in or the heat is absorbed in is called endothermic reaction. ENDO, endothermic reaction. And what is exothermic change? The change in which heat is given out. For example, burning. Burning, when we are standing near, we will feel hot because that substance is giving out heat energy. Okay, so burning. So the change in which heat is given out is called exothermic change, and the change in which heat is taken in is called endothermic change. Okay, so up to here read your textbook. We will continue the same topic, and I will explain the same topic in detail in the coming session. Okay, read your textbook. Okay, read your textbook, otherwise you will not understand anything. Clear? So all of you take care. We will continue our chapter in the coming class.